television show invites you to speak live with Piscataway's Mayor Brian Waller and his guests on the first Monday of each month. To speak with the mayor, call 562-2305. Mayor Waller is ready to take your calls.
Good evening and welcome to On Piscataway. This is Monday, October 7th, and we are on the air live. If you'd like to speak with me or my guests, please call us at any time during this hour-long program at 732-562-2305. My guests this evening include Ward 2 Councilman Jim Ballard, Ward 4 Councilwoman Michelle Lombardi, and Piscataway Office on Aging Director Amy Baumann. Ward 2 Councilman Jim Ballard currently serves as Council President. Jim is also the chair of the Turn On Youth Coalition and is an active member of the Senior Citizen Advisory Commission and the Rec Advisory Commission. He's very involved in seeking support from our U.S. senators and congressional people, for others, for the Older American Reauthorization Act. And he's slightly out of his element here tonight because usually Jim is the program floor stage manager here on a TV show. So this time he's on the hot seat in front of the camera. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Good. Ward 4 Councilwoman Michelle Lombardi has been a council member since 2006 and currently serves as Council Vice President. She is the chair of the Council Public Safety Committee and a member of the Council Finance Committee. Michelle has successfully organized several community-wide events, including the Township's Cleanup Litter Day, the Mayor's Health and Wellness Campaign, the Outdoor Holiday Decorating Contest, and most recently, the very successful Relay for Life event with the American Cancer Society. Happy to have you back on the show, Michelle.
Thanks, Mayor.
Okay. Amy Baumann is the Piscataway Director on Aging. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from William Penn College in Iowa. She is also a New Jersey certified social worker and a certified assisted living administrator and a New Jersey recreation administrator. Amy has certificates from Rutgers University in senior services management, gerontology, and senior housing. Prior to coming to Piscataway, Amy was the director of East Windsor Senior Center for 12 years. And welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, well, I have to admit there was a little announcement out there in the press that we were supposed to have our Congressman Frank Pallone come and be on the show tonight and talk about what was going on in Washington. The bad news, there's a lockout going on in Washington, as we all know, with the fiasco down there. But the good news is that Piscataway's up and running. Because in Piscataway, we don't shut down for anything. Whether it's a blizzard, a hurricane, or some other catastrophe event, or fortunately for that, cooler heads prevail here in Piscataway, other down in Washington. So we will give Congressman Pallone a rain check to come back to the show when that fiasco is solved down in Washington, hopefully sooner than later. With that, now that we have Amy here in front of us to talk about the Senior Center a little bit, maybe you can give us like a 1 or 2 minute overview, and then we do have about 3.5 minutes of some filming of some segments of events that have gone on, and some things over at the Senior Center, and then we'll talk about the addition and Sterling Village and some of the other programming, what's out there to offer. So Amy, take it away.
Well, as everyone knows, the center is reopened after we've had a wonderful expansion of many different rooms, including a nice computer room and a large multi-purpose room, which we're going to show some different activities that we've been offering. And with all this, we're able to offer more programming opportunities, such as we're going to be having an update on Medicare, which is going to be October 24th. And we're having Mary McGarry from the state come in to let seniors know about Medicare and information for open enrollment. That will be October 24th.
And that's normally the open enrollment's normally once a year, correct?
Yes, right. But this will be objective information. It's not going to be from health service providers. It's going to be straight from exactly what's happening. And seniors can sign up at the center, and they'll get a raffle ticket they will have to be present at the Medicare update in order to get a prize.
Now I've heard everything. You get
Yeah.
a prize for signing up for Medicare. Is that what I have to wait forward to?
Yes, yes.
yes.
Okay, well, I'm not in a rush to get that prize.
That's
but,
quite a number of years from now,
yeah.
too, Mayor.
But, all right, so what other things are going on there in the center?
We have a Halloween party coming up October 29th from 11 to 1.
All right, so if I go over there, I can dress as myself, and I think that'll be scary enough.
Yes, you can. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, just making sure. No, I'm kidding around here, but the seniors really do have a lot of great parties
They
over
do
there.
some incredible parties over at the senior
Yes,
center.
they do. All right, what else, Amy?
We've got a Lions of Eyeglass presentation on Halloween Day, which is October 31st, and seniors will be able to find out if they're eligible to receive a free pair of eyeglasses.
Okay, that's obviously very important. And I want to remind the viewers, the number is 732-562-2305. My guests even include the Aging Director, Amy Bauman, Vice Council President Michelle Lombardi, and Council President Jim Ballard. I think before you go down the schedule, I think what we're going to do is let's cue up the video.
Okay, that's
And
fine. Okay,
that'll
sure.
be a little easier to explain
Right.
as we're going along. And feel free for any one of us to jump in if you see something going on. So
Right.
let's take it away. Okay, Amy, what do we have going on?
We have a certified Symbol teacher who specializes in teaching seniors. And as you can see, we have a very large group of seniors who love it. And it's held every Monday and Thursday mornings at the center.
I recall, if I may, when we first put this on about 2 months ago, our first class, we had 50 people in there. And that's the reason we had to go to 2 classes, because they just couldn't be any more than that. And these folks are really, really enjoying themselves.
Now, Jim, I mean, this is a little bit your expertise. This is the computer lab in the senior center.
In the computer lab, we have 15 computers, and we actually, there is a myth about people who are 50 years and older that they don't get in computers. So what we're doing, we'll move away from
That's
that.
all right. We'll come back to the computer
Yes.
lab. This is Piscataway's own version of the Minnesota Fats
Yes.
league here, the Pool Sharks. They've
and
actually won some tournaments there.
That's right. We just won. There are 6 people who just won the tournaments over in just recently.
And
And
Woodbridge.
all
Yeah.
those
Yes.
pool tables have all been refelted and cushioned right there. They have
Yes.
new cues there.
There's
This is
their
Amy. What
store.
is this?
This is Pandora's Thrift
Right.
Shop. This is Piscataway's best kept secret, where you can go in and you can buy a lot of nice clothing and different items. And all of the proceeds go back to the center to help us with activities and events.
And that's to buy hamburgers and hot dogs, as we see on the grill out there.
Well, that was done with the Sterling Village
Yeah.
Bazaar. But here they are at the picnic at Sterling Village. This was held in September. And every year they have a big bazaar, and all the
And
money.
nobody was allowed to get in unless they got a handshake from me right there in front of them.
There you go.
So no, but this is this is one of the things we're also going to talk about tonight is Sterling Village and connectivity
housing.
between the housing
Right.
here. But this is they're allowed to go off the diet and the dietary for once a year here for this picnic.
Yeah.
So
We go from the health and wellness
Yes.
of the
Yes.
Zumba
Yes.
to the picnics with the bad food.
Yes.
now what's this here, Amy?
That was our beach ball blast party. The seniors really enjoyed dressing in summer attire, and we had a band who was excellent called the Bill Turner Smoke Band. They were there, and as you can see, the seniors are enjoying socializing, being together, and there's Bill Turner. They had a great time.
Well, the good news is I don't see anybody dancing
I was
on the
gonna say,
table.
yes, you do.
And we know that
There
one
goes
lady.
my mom.
behind.
Yes.
I know.
She and Doris, let me tell you, they
have a great time.
They had a great time, believe me. And I said, oh, wow. Go
You
ahead.
wouldn't know she just had knee surgery, would you?
No, and she,
Yeah.
let it, and she didn't let it be known either.
No, that's good, yeah.
Session there.
But our seniors really, really enjoy what
Keeps
we
them
do.
Now,
Yeah.
on any given, Amy, there's one theme event once a month, correct? Or-
Correct, yes.
And sometimes there may be 2, depending upon how the calendar falls. On average, roughly how many people show up at these theme events?
About 175 people.
Yeah. Now, just for the general public, the new edition, we can hold up to about almost 300 and sit down in that new, but allows more flexibility because of the way the bifolding doors now, you can expand and contract the space out there. Correct me if I'm wrong?
Well, a good example of that is when the 4 times we had to take music, put the music in the park out there.
Yeah, the concerts.
The concerts. We had
Yeah.
at least 300 people in
Oh,
there.
yes.
And the way the bands are put together, those people can see, they can dance, they can do anything they want.
Well, I think most of it was when it was the heat. We had a couple
Yeah,
rain
the
days,
heat.
and then one day
Yes.
was because of the heat advisory, excessive heat advisory. But I think they got spoiled over there because they were inside the AC condition.
Yes. They did get spoiled because one of the other things, the people from Sterling Village were able to walk there.
Yeah.
And they asked me, Jim, can you have it down here all the time? I said, no, we're going to have it outside.
No, it's out in the park.
Out in the park. It's a park.
So now you're going to have the folks from Sterling Village hoping for rain on concert days to
Right.
have their verse right there. But the way the building was designed now, and Jim, you didn't get a chance. Maybe you might want to talk a little bit about the lab and what's offered, the computer
Yes.
lab and what's offered there.
And as I was beginning to say that there is a myth about people over 50 not being computer literate. That's not true anymore because people want to communicate with their kids, whether or not they're sniping or whatever the case is. What we've done, we put together, we have about 4 instructors there to teach from just using the mouse and what it does to Word, to Excel, and Internet Explorer, you name it, we have it there now. And we sign up, I would say we have classes at least once a week,
Yes, right.
And we also have Chor, my good friend in there, who's there every day. And if people want to come in there and just work out and not work out, they want to do whatever they want to do in the labs, they're there. And we do have 15 computers now. We try to minimize the sign up to about 10 people, but when I take a look at the number of people who have signed up versus the people who are on the waiting list, sometimes I'll have as many 10 people on the waiting list. But let me tell you, they are really enjoying it, and what they're telling us, because we actually get comments back as they don't write your name on it.
And the way the room was designed was just no different as a college instruction facility.
It looks exactly the way a college will. We have the I want to say kids, the students there, but right up front you have the professor or the instructor, and there is a very large monitor. So therefore, as the instructor's talking, they can see everything on the monitor, and the folks are very easy, so they're tuned in and so forth.
It's less intimidating.
That is correct. And one of the things we try to do is to what I call dummy it down. In other words, get on the level as the people you're working with, because if they're not afraid, if they're afraid of computers, well, make it in such a way that they're not afraid of computers. Say, you're not going to break anything. This is what you do.
Now, all those computers have Skyping capability.
That is correct. Yes.
And I do know that a lot of the seniors have Skyped their grandchildren that live out of state.
Yes.
So they don't necessarily have a laptop or a computer in their wherever they live.
Where they can come to the computer center and actually see the grandchildren and so forth. So all of that's available for them.
And then one of the other things, Amy, during the tax season, with some of the volunteers helping some of the seniors fill out their taxes, they use the computer room, correct me if I'm wrong, to help fill out some of their taxes.
Yeah, they use it
we
because
definitely do, yes.
most of the taxes now they want you to do online. So
Yeah.
they have the folks right there in the computer room filling it out online now.
And
which
then,
is very good.
Councilman, do you see now that with a lot of the things now publicly that have to be done online, that the seniors are now coming over to the computer lab to do that instead of going to the library? They're
Oh,
coming.
absolutely. Because what we did is we got the information from the library, the way their training classes were, and we took each of them. They gave us at least 15 different training classes, and like I said, we dummied them down, made them for seniors, because over the 2 libraries, their classes are for the average person, average age, I should say. So what we've done, we've made it for the 60 year and over.
Okay.
So that's what we did with all of theirs. In
Okay.
other words, we rewrote it.
We're going to switch gears here. Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
What if you're a client that's receiving Meals on Wheels? What does the senior center mean to them as a client?
The nutrition program that's run by the Middlesex County Office on Aging and Disabled Services, they do provide Meals on Wheels to individuals who live in anywhere in Middlesex County. You have to be homebound you cannot be able to go out and get your own food, and there can't be someone living with you. But they will deliver a meal to you that is hot every day, and all you have to do is call the nutrition program at the center to sign up for that.
And one of the best things, I mean, I know you didn't see it in the clips though, but the whole kitchen and the food distribution area was changed around to make it more efficient, and it's really built now the way it should have been built. You know, we didn't know that we were gonna, when the senior center was first built, we didn't know that we were gonna end up dealing the meals for 3 or 4 other towns as a regional distribution point. But now that we are, you know, when we did the addition, we had that in mind to have a better flow through working operation for the volunteers and some of the employees.
It's a beautiful room, the pack-out room. It's got stainless steel counters, and the workers and volunteers are able to pack out the meals very efficiently. And I have to say it's one of the most beautiful ones I've seen.
Yeah. Now, how roughly on any given day, on an average, this goes on Monday through Friday, how many meals are packed out there at the center to be distributed?
About 200 meals a day.
Okay, so that's about 200 homebound seniors.
Yes.
That they do it, and that plays into the fact of what's going on in Washington right now, because they're fighting over programming like this, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, but in a lot of cases, this is the only nutritional meal that these seniors may get that are homebound, or get, you know, they're sure that they're going to eat something, one thing nutritious in a day, and that's why programming is important like that.
Yeah.
Jim,
and in fact, that's absolutely right, because it is part of the Old American Act, which is being reauthorization at this moment, because that has been in place since 1965. And there are 7 components of that, and one component is actually nutrition. And if they were to cut that or not reorganize it or reauthorize it again, then those meals are going to be cut out. All of those services will be gone. So that's the reason we're going to the centers, we're going to the mayor and people of that nature to say, please support us. And I know that in the middle of the year, the senator from from Vermont, he had a big kickoff, and he reached out to all of us to say, please help us, go to your senators, your Congress folks, and so forth, and because that has to keep going on. You cannot stop that, because it will impact our seniors.
No, and that's in the state, because, you know, we have around 5,000 registered seniors here in the town, but not all of them obviously qualify for that program, you know. But at some point in time, you know, as people get older, they may fall into that bracket, and that's why that really is a lifeline in a lot of respects for a lot of seniors in the country.
And the senior community is going to get bigger now. They have about 5,000, we have 56,000 people, so there's a little under 10%. So as a result of that, and you know it's growing.
Yes.
So if we don't keep those kinds of things going, things are going to happen. Now today, as you know, because of the shutdown, no one's thinking of that. They're trying to get the world back on, or the country back on its feet again, or something like that.
Councilwoman, did you have something to say?
Yeah, no, one of the things that I was going to ask Amy, why don't you, for our residents, kind of say how they can come in, how they can sign up to be eligible for all these wonderful things that we have to offer here in Piscataway for our seniors. You know, many people that don't come or are not aware that we have the services that we have, maybe you could make it a little easier for them to come down, you know, tell them how to come down and what they should do, you know, to be able to get involved in all of these great things that we have for our seniors.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is that in order to participate at the Senior Center, that you need to live in Piscataway and be 60 years or older. And you can come into the center and you can fill out an application, or you can find all the information on our website at piscatawaytownship.org. You can download all the forms, and then you can bring them into the center, and we'll take your picture, and you'll get a little card from my senior center that you can swipe in for all your activities that you're doing each day. And it's a really easy process. And one thing I want to say too is that when you come in, you'll get a beautiful newcomers packet that has a wide array of information to assist you with many different areas, not just the center. There's information about heating and heating assistance, and there's information about PAD and Senior Gold, and because we want to be able to give seniors as much information as possible so that they're more knowledgeable.
And so they have like a newsletter that tells them when Zumba is and when everything is.
We have a newsletter that's printed out every 2 months. Right now, we have a newsletter that's out for September and October, and you can basically look at the newsletter, either get one at the center or you can get it online, and it gives you the wide array of different activities that we have offered.
Okay.
Now, what other activities go on at the senior center?
We have lots of different activities, such as Tai Chi. We have contemporary Tai Chi. We have traditional.
Now, what's the difference between traditional, contemporary, and regular Tai Chi?
Well,
I'm not saying that you're a Tai Chi expert.
Okay,
I'm not going to pin you down on that.
all right. It's basically different forms of Tai Chi. I believe that the contemporary is for the more advanced Tai Chi person, and the beginner Tai Chi is for the beginning Tai Chi. We're trying to break it down so that more people get opportunities to learn Tai Chi. The 7 a.m. Tai Chi class is very advanced, and I wouldn't recommend anyone new coming into that.
7
But with the beginner,
a.m.
yes.
Yes.
The center opens at 7 a.m., and there are seniors that are always waiting outside to get in. But we also have video fitness. We have yoga. We've got strong bones classes. And
strong bone classes. What is that?
Yes. They have weights that they use, and bands, and they basically do this class to help them to help prevent osteoporosis.
That's one of the
So in other words,
classes.
don't drink more.
That's one of the classes I attended, unless I'm with you, Mayor, every Saturday morning. And basically what it is the different exercises, the bands and so forth, to make sure that you're working the muscles. And also, you also have weights strapped on your ankles so that you can move the legs up and down and sideways, just to make sure that you have that stability. Because if you don't have that, and because a lot of us, as we get older, we just don't have that stability and so forth. We also use some of the exercises which are done up in Somerset Medical, in which, for an example, you will actually have the bands around your legs and you're moving just so you can develop the strength
You're
and so forth.
strength training your muscles. That's what retains your muscles.
That's exactly right.
Through strength training.
And we have those classes, I think, 3 days a week, I believe, right? Yes. But they're very good classes.
We also have a Wii team that they practice Wii twice a week, and they do go out and compete against other centers as well.
All right. And we got a lot of flags. Now, we're going to hold that thought. We're going to come back, but we have a couple of videos that we want to show that other things going on in the town. So let's go to the next videotape. This is the DPW paving crew out there. They're trying to finish up on some of the streets before the weather gets too cold. This was taken out on Hillside Avenue, which is a major collector street over off there by Rivercrest Drive, off Custard Street. It goes all the way down to River Road. This is the upper portion that we just reconstructed with all the side streets too, and then hopefully next year we'll take a look at the lower portion of that street. We will probably be paving up until the next 3 weeks, but then knocking it off right around Halloween, because the weather gets too cold really to start paving. So we don't want to mill something that we know we're not going to pave and leave it open. So that's why everything's weather contingent now this time of the year. But things are coming out to some of the equipment that we have internally to do, instead of having outside contractors come in. Where most communities, they actually would have to pay separate contractors to do that, but we have the in-house expertise and the equipment to do that, so we save a lot of money by doing it that way.
Yeah. Also, if you take a look at the number of streets which we have in process now, it's quite a number of streets.
Yes, it is.
When you think about it.
The general public has to understand here that predominantly most of the streets, a good portion of the town developed in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So now, consequently, those streets and a lot of those areas now are at the end of their lifespan.
Yes.
So we're going to have to be stepping it up more so in the next couple of years to be doing this. reconstructing some of the streets, but you also have a lot of areas in town that are receiving a full-blown reconstruction because there was never a real true street there to begin with. It was like the old tar and chipstone streets, and now when we go in and do that, we're following a DOT standard called the Complete Streets program, which, if possible, we'd like to do new curbing and sidewalks, and depending upon the width of the street, possibly bike lanes, mostly on the county roads. But
and I'm sure as Michelle and I are out knocking on doors, we hear that question, why haven't you done my street? I'm sure you hear that all.
Well, that's part of the problem. A lot of people see that a lot of the other a lot of areas throughout town are anything we're just replacing in kind, like curb work that's already out there that we don't need to hire an outside engineering firm for. That's easy to fix. It's just a matter of getting it in the queue. But there's a lot of streets where we have to spend a lot of money on outside engineering firms and go through the regulatory permitting process. Right. We do have another clip of a ribbon cutting that we just recently out on Stelton Road. So let's go to that, cue that up. We're here today to have the official ribbon cutting of the Stelton Road project, a $4 million project, which took about 7 years from design start to finish with all the utility companies. Very complicated job out here. As you can see through the pictures there's actually a lot of safety improvements. There was an area where we had a lot of serious accidents over the last decade and a half. So now you have sidewalks for the pedestrians to walk on, and also bike lanes for the bicyclists, and a nice road with new intersection traffic signal lights out here. And this is probably should have been 20 years old. It was talked about, but it finally got done. And the next couple phases of Stelton Road will be going underway next year. And I want to thank the county government for working with the town and the local businesses, more importantly, along here. And this has become a boon to the local businesses now. Now they're seeing a lot of foot traffic and bicycle patrons come up to their businesses that didn't happen in the past. So I want to thank everybody. And I want to introduce, we have Rich Wallner from the County Engineering Department, our County Sheriff, Millie Scott, who was one of the freeholders at the time who authorized the engineering services out there. I'd like to thank the Sheriff and obviously our State Senator, Bob Smith, and our Council President Jim Ballard, and Councilman Mike Griffith, and also our newest Councilwoman Chanel McComb. So with that, we're going to do this. This is for the prosperity of all the businesses along Stelton Road, and for the residents in the area that they patronize all these businesses. Good.
Hey.
All right. Good. I just have to let you know for the record, those are actually real scissors.
Yes.
So if you want a manicure, you'll get one with them. So, but I want to get back to that real quickly. I'd like to thank the Board of Chosen Freeholders for all their support that they've given our community. There is 25 municipalities in the county. We've been fortunate enough that, working in conjunction with their engineering department and their design staff to really take a look at all the county road network system in the township. And as I mentioned before about the complete streets, that where possible, we're incorporating sidewalks and bicycle lanes. And what's very important out on Stelton Road, especially in that segment and then further down by South Plainfield, people seem to forget that there was a bicyclist fatality. A bicyclist was on the road and was hit by a car. Also a pedestrian fatality over in that area. So that was the genesis of us taking a look and working with the county to say we really need to do something for the future to take care of this potentially problem that's continuing to happen. So now what you're seeing is, now that the roadway's finished, you're seeing more and more of the residents that live right there are actually walking to patronize the businesses, or they're biking. So, which never happened before. And if you talk to some of the small business owners out there, that's the first thing that they'll tell you. So it is a positive thing for the community, and that's the whole idea. We want people to have, for lack of a better word, Stelton Road is our downtown, a very long downtown road, but, because we don't have a true main street per se, but, any way that we can help out the small businesses along that very busy, one of the busiest corridors in Middlesex County, and be done tastefully with the adjacent residents, and also have safety features. That's a very extremely positive thing. And I know, Michelle, obviously, that was in your ward.
It's fantastic down there.
Yeah.
And most of the places that we've done the road improvements, you do see people walking now.
Oh, the minute you build a sidewalk, people start working.
People are on them. Yes.
Now, I did get a lot of questions from some of the folks along there. They wanted to know when the next phase was going to happen. There's actually 2 phases. One from School Street to the Ethel Road, to the Edison train station. The county plans to be out to bid sometime over the summer of 2014, but that'll be a 14 or 15-month project. The next phase is actually held up by South Plainfield, from Haynes Avenue to New Dorm Road. They have to acquire some property off of 2 of the businesses out there, and then when they're finished with that, and the county receives a letter, they'll do the final engineering design and do that. But that's the area where we had a fatal out there, and that's why I'm very eager to get that done out there, because a lot of people, as you can see, they're walking along the road or on people's lawns right there. They're walking, so you got to do something about it, and that's a good thing with people walking.
Yeah.
So,
Mayor, don't you think that the reason why we have so much activities or support, I should say, from the county freeholders is because our team, the Piscataway team, are actually thinking out of the box as to what we want 10 years hence and so forth?
Well, yeah, it took a lot. I mean, these projects just don't happen overnight.
Right.
And a lot of it's for the wellness of the seniors, of getting people out to walk in their neighborhoods to have a safe walk. And, it normally takes 7 to 8 years with some of these projects, and people don't realize, the regulatory process that the county has to go through, the municipality. And so even if hypothetically you signed an engineering firm, you may be looking at 5, 6, 7. I mean, the one on Ethel Road, by Ethel Road, that's just 14 years now. So, I mean, they'll be under construction next year, but that's, it takes a long time. All right, we're going to go to one more clip before we go to our announcements. So we have a clip on the 9/11 remembrance at the Piscataway Oaks.
The tragedy and loss of September 11th has touched us all. Events of that day have likely caused you to evaluate the course of your life and your priorities. For some time, you may have believed that faith was important, but now you've decided to act on that faith. As we know, freedom is the cornerstone of the American way of life. On September 11, 2001, we all witnessed and felt this freedom threatened in a real and unexpected way. Today, we commemorate the 12th anniversary of the day we witnessed a conscious and purposeful large-scale destruction of innocent and defenseless lives on American soil. It changed generations of us forever. It reminded us how fragile our freedom can be, but there are countless stories of survival, courage, perseverance, and heroism which are revealed in the strength of freedom.
I'd like to publicly thank the exalted ruler, the officers, and the membership of the Elks for sponsoring this remembrance evening for the 9/11 victims, as well as the participation of both the Newmarket and River Road Fire Companies and also Troop 67 Boy Scouts here. Thank you very much for doing this remembrance, and it's really hard to believe that it's been 12 years. On occasions, I do run into the relatives or the fallen Piscataway residents here occasionally and have chat for a few minutes about their lives going on. And you got to wonder how their lives have changed since that day. So we have to always keep that in mind. And most importantly, for all those first responders who also perished during that day. So with that, I want to thank again the Elks for sponsoring us. Okay, now at this point, we're going to go to our monthly announcements. I want to remind the viewers on Saturday, the 12th of October, the Middlesex County shredding truck will be at the Senior Citizen Center parking lot from 9 a.m. to 12 noon or until the truck is filled. Now, last year, they actually had 2 trucks, and believe it or not, they filled both trucks. So if you have any confidential records or anything that need to be shredded, this is your opportunity to get that shredded. October is also Fire Prevention Month, and I know Councilwoman Lombardi is going to talk a little bit about that. The Newmarket Firehouse at 801 South Washington Avenue will hold an open house on the 12th of October from 10 to 3 p.m. At the Firehouse, North Stelton Fire Company will hold an open house on Saturday the 19th from 12 to 3 at the Lowe's Home Improvement parking lot. A special general election will be held on Wednesday, October 16th. The polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Deadline to apply for the mail-in ballot by mail is October 9th. Deadline for in-person mail-in ballot will be received in the county clerk's by 3 p.m. on October 15th. October's programs scheduled at the Senior Citizen Center include chronic disease management, Wednesdays from October 16th to November 20th at 9:30 a.m., and the General Medicare Workshop, as Amy was just talking about, scheduled for Thursday, October 24th at from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The Cultural Arts Commission will present a photographic exhibit of our hometown heroes during the month of November, which will hang in the Municipal Gallery, 455 Hose Lane. If you are or have a relative who is currently a Piscataway resident and is or has served in active duty in any branch of the armed forces, you are eligible to submit a photo. Photos will be accepted on Saturday, November 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the municipal building. All photos must be framed and have a wire hanger for hanging and be no larger than 11 by 14. For more information, contact Cultural Arts Kitty Jutner at 732-563-4117. The Georgia Art Show participants are on display in the Municipal Gallery during the month of October, and the gallery is open Mondays through Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and from 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. On November 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., Piscataway Township, Piscataway High School will sponsor their second annual food drive to benefit the Fish Hospitality Program. Non-perishable food items such as canned vegetables and fruits, dry beans, soup, peanut butter, pasta, rice, cereal, baby formula, baby food, shampoo, soap, toothpaste, deodorant, laundry detergent, as well as supermarket gift cards will be accepted at the Municipal Building, 455 Hose Lane. Items can also be dropped off in advance at the Municipal Building, the Kennedy Library, the West Cigar Library, as well as Piscataway High School and at the Piscataway Chiefs home football games. Due to construction at the Mettler Bodine House Museum, Piscataway's own museum, the Holiday Tea, scheduled for Sunday, December 8th at the museum, has been moved to the historic Van Winkle House, 1239 Easton Avenue, Somerset. There is limited seating and reservations are required. The cost is $28 per person, and you must reserve by November 30th by calling 732-463-8363. The lecture on Lincoln Highway and the roads of Raritan Valley, scheduled for November 9th, has been postponed until the spring. During the week of November 4th, the tax office will be open 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., not closing for the lunch hour. And on Wednesday, November 6th, the office will remain open until 7 p.m. for the convenience of our taxpayers. All township offices will be closed on Monday, October 14th for Columbus Day, and this October program will be rebroadcast on Mondays in October at 8 p.m., Fridays and Sundays at 7 p.m. on Channel 15 and on FiOS channels 40 and 42. Please note that the program change for November Eye on Piscataway will be live on Wednesday, November 6th at 7 p.m. So with that concludes our monthly announcements, and I do know that Councilwoman Lombardi has something to talk about.
Well, most definitely. Being that I grew up around the firehouse and I'm married to somebody who's in the fire service, I would get in a lot of trouble if I didn't mention that this week is Fire Prevention Week. Okay, for all of our residents that don't know, all of our firemen in this town are volunteer firefighters, and they put in a lot of time. And most of our fire departments hold a open house for Fire Prevention Week. They open the fire departments, the families can come down, tour the facilities, the kids can go on the fire trucks. They usually have different demonstrations to teach fire prevention to the children and to the families. So let's not forget our local fire departments, and remember it is Fire Prevention Week. And I looked up a little bit about it. It's been acknowledged since 1922, Fire Prevention Week. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And another thing that I'd like to acknowledge is that in New Jersey, the New Jersey Division of Fire and Safety creates a calendar every year, and they did a poster contest. And in the poster contest, one of our Piscataway residents was one of the 12 students that actually won a page in the poster contest. Right. So I'd love to acknowledge her and show her picture. She's for September, okay? And her name is Sumant Sridhar, and she was one of many, many students in the state.
I know Bob Gore was very happy about that.
Yes.
Has somebody at Piscataway at the specialty.
Yeah, she goes to Randolphville School. So we're very proud of her. And like I said, it's one of 12 out of the whole state.
Nice.
So I thought that was a very nice accomplishment.
Hats off to her and her family and,
Yeah.
and the staff over at the Randolph Hill School.
Yeah. So kudos to her.
That's the good news.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that sounds good. I guess we're going to talk a little bit, or they want us to go back to the video. We have 2 more video clips, so I guess we'll cue that up. So we're going to let them cue. We're got one, Maria Perez, or actually we're going to go talk about the art winners at the Municipal Building, the Jordan Art Show. So let's cue that up.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm glad to see all of you here, and thank you so much to all of our artists for sharing your art with us and showing us the joy that you have in working with the arts and also with promoting the arts. And this is a wonderful gallery, a wonderful space to have your art exhibit in, because we have so many people who come throughout the building and they keep looking at the artwork. That's one of the big attractions.
I know this doesn't look like the Louvre in Paris, but this is about as close as we're going to get here in Piscataway Township. I like to think of this as like a tapes committee. You know what a tapes committee? It's tourism, arts, professional, sports, and entertainment. So this is one of the components of the tapes committee. And what that says is that it gives us an entertainment, but also an educational about what the arts are all about. Now, we could have all been at the high school football game tonight, but we're here to celebrate some of the talents of both the local folks and some of the folks that live in this general area, to show off their capabilities in the arts community. And hopefully at some point in time, we're going to be getting bigger and better. And the Cultural Arts Commission just doesn't do arts displays and stuff that. They do a lot of entertainment projects throughout the year, such as our concert series and special performance events. And for those of you who don't live in town, and those that do, all these committees are all run by volunteers, your fellow citizens here. And if it wasn't for them volunteering their time, and Kitty and the rest of the team here do put in a lot of time, we wouldn't have programs like this. The Cultural Arts Committee, Kitty Jutner and her volunteers there, they really do. It is a lot of work that the Cultural Arts does. And they're there a lot of long weeknights, getting ready to settle up. A lot of people don't realize that. And, it does bring a lot of enjoyment there. And then obviously the concert series and a lot of special events. And, and they work hand in hand with the senior center and things with events going. But, it is a lot of work, and a lot of people don't realize it. It's underappreciated, from the general public, but not for those of us that are in municipal government. We understand all the hard work that they're doing.
Yeah, I will say hats off to Kitty, because she, as a leader of the team, believe me, it takes a lot. For an example, anytime we let one of people to know, we can have a 500 letters that we're sending, 1,000 letters that we're sending out all over the place to let people know that we're there. So she works extremely hard.
We do have another clip here. We're going to. It's a very short clip. It's from the Governor's Alcohol Council awareness luncheon. One of our own township employees, Maria Perez, was the Volunteer of the Year here in Middlesex County. So this is the annual summit that was held at the Hyatt Regency in New Brunswick, and this is the whole Piscataway group up there. Police department folks, the Governor's Council, and even former Governor McGreevey was there to give representing there, and was there with myself for congratulating Maria on her award. I want to thank Maria, and these are all the advocates that work with children throughout the state of New Jersey for alcohol prevention and drug prevention programming that's in the school systems and outside the school systems. So they have, each year they have one volunteer award for each of the 21 counties. And Maria Perez was the award winner out of Piscataway this year from Middlesex County, which is very impressive, because she does, as well as many of the other volunteers, they do donate a lot of their off-hour times to these programs, and I want to thank them for that. Getting back to the Sterling Village real quick, since that we're not finished yet entirely out there connecting up the building, we have a contract that we awarded just recently using some federal funds to revamp the parking lot out there. So we probably won't have an official ribbon cutting until sometime in spring of next year when everything's completely. But what has that done for the center now that the buildings are hooked up with a nice courtyard and a walkway, a safe walkway, let them walkway in it?
Well, the seniors from Sterling Village can access the center very easily because they can walk over, and when it's raining, they won't get rained on. And it gives them easy access to get there.
Which didn't exist.
Didn't exist before, right?
Yeah.
The other point I'd like to make about that, not only just the access to get there, but we have cameras. We have 29 cameras throughout the senior center and a couple here. But the key thing is, so therefore, if anyone's walking or something happens to them, Amy and her staff can see them instantly. And that's what's extremely important.
It offers a security blanket.
Security blanket, that's correct.
Around there. Now, interesting, when we made that decision to connect up both buildings, what happened, we had design plans for that addition going back almost 6 or 7 years ago. We just didn't have the funding. What ended up happening is that the governor comes out and says he's going to hijack all the Council on Affordable Monies. So we were fortunate. We were ahead of the curve, found out about it, and we met the requirements by connecting up the building with the walkway. It satisfied the alternative plans because that was considered programming for people who live at Sterling Village. So we were able to use that money as well as money to buy a new generator out there to replace the old one, which we're using in another building. So now every room will be powered up by the generator if there was ever a break in direct current electric supply for the building. So it's probably one of the only few in the state, senior housing, that actually have a fully operational building where every circuit is covered, which is actually, for me and many of the other first responders out there, that it's a peace of mind, maybe not for, they don't think them, but it's a peace of mind for us knowing that that facility is taken care of.
Absolutely.
So, and then there's a lot of other, there's 2 new bocce ball courts out there, right?
Three new bocce. Yes,
courts out there.
Right.
Remember, we're going to have a bocce ball tournament next year.
Yes, and there's a nice picnic area out there, a shelter, so we can have picnics.
Yes. So
well, I'll tell you, we have the bocce team. We have about 30 people as part of that.
We've got about 40 people.
We have 40 now.
Yes.
And they were very particular about that bocce court. If you recall, Mayor, they kept coming to you, said they need a step down, and we always said, wait a minute, if you're going to be out there pitching that ball, why do you need a step down, and so forth. But the mayor came through.
Well, I want to make sure when they go to play other teams out of town that we have some ringers on our team. So. Now, Amy, what else is going on over at the Senior Center?
Well, we're looking forward to having a Thanksgiving Day party on November 12th from 11 to 12. And we've also got a holiday party coming up December 19th from 11 to 1.
Oh, that's for the Christmas holiday party? Or?
Yes, yes.
All right. Now, going forward, and just so basically, if somebody wants to think about, and I think what was really good over the summer, even though we had a couple of the concerts in the senior center, there was a lot of seniors there that live in town that never knew that this facility, they didn't even know the facility existed. It was just amazing to me that in this day and age that there's still a segment of the population, as much as we do PR and try to tell people about it or word of mouth or whatever, that they didn't know. And then once they came in there and they saw how nice the amenities are, they wanted to join up.
Absolutely.
Well, I think there's one other thing, too. We talk to seniors about coming over to the senior center. And one of the things they say, look, I don't want to be over there with those old folks.
Yeah.
But
that's a very common...
Yes, that's a very common thing. I run into
it
all the time. And the thing is, when they come over, they say, wait a minute, these are not old folks, and something like that. And
well, let me comment on that, because there is a whole group of younger seniors that are very involved in there. One being my mother. She's on the advisory board. She's got a whole group of girlfriends. And now, you have to understand, of course, that my dad passed away. So she's widowed. So that gave her something to do, somewhere to go. She made new friends. She's doing new things, and now one of the things that she's doing is she's taken over, she's volunteering. Seniors like to travel, okay? So she's doing the senior citizens trips. They enjoy that. You know, it keeps them going. You have to keep going in life.
And it's not just to Atlantic City.
No,
It's
and
like Rosemary's travel agency
It's
now.
called Rosie's Travels,
Travels.
right? Some of the things that she's looking for people to come to is there on October 18th. There's an Oktoberfest. They go to upstate New York. There's German food, German dancing, all kinds of
Yes.
great activities. So she's still looking for
Is
people
that up in the Catskill region?
It's upstate New York,
yeah.
at the Plaza. I can't even pronounce the name of the place that it's at.
That's the Brauhaus.
Yes.
Plaza Brauhaus.
But,
I've been there 3 times, and
right.
let me tell you, it is fantastic.
Right, so October 18th, and she says you don't have to be a senior. A lot of times, a Piscataway member might be a member, but they want to bring a friend who lives in another town. It's okay.
That's right.
You can bring them. So for the October 18th trip, she's looking for people, and they go to the Sands Casino. That's Thursday, November 14th. So it keeps them busy. It keeps them occupied. It keeps your mind going, Wouldn't you say?
It does. Yes,
it's very important to the township for that group of our citizens.
Well, one thing I wanted to say as well is I've started having newcomers get-togethers. We just had one at the end of September because I feel that...
So they don't feel uncomfortable.
Right, that when the seniors walk in,
Right.
they feel a little uncomfortable. So we give them like an orientation where they come through the center. They may get to know friends that are brand new.
You have a welcome committee?
Yes, and we give them like some bagels and muffins at Sterling Village. They have like a little breakfast together, so they get to know each other. And I think that they may come back, because we actually invited them in.
Right.
They didn't come in by themselves.
Right.
They didn't feel alienated.
Well, I'm sure
yeah.
first time coming in, you're just like
Right.
going to school for the first time. Oh, maybe there's a clique. Maybe I won't fit in. Maybe they probably do feel uncomfortable. So there's got to be ways that we go about making them feel comfortable.
The other thing that I think makes most of the people feel comfortable is that our culture. If you think in terms of about 56,000 people, we have 5 or 6 different cultures in there, and you can actually see that when you come there every morning or when you're there during the day. And that's very comfortable for a new person coming in. For an example, if they're Asian, there's an Asian group there or whatever the case is, and that makes them feel...
They all get along.
They get along extremely well.
Right.
And they have fun
they do.
together.
Yeah, they do.
Now, what's some other program that's run here that has to do health and wellness programs?
The chronic disease management
Yes.
classes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We actually are filled for our class starting October 16th. Middlesex County Health Department's coming in. They do it for free. They teach the seniors how to cope with diabetes, arthritis, other chronic diseases. Every week they focus on something else, something new, and then they get a certificate when they finish the class. And because we had such a big response, we're having another class starting up in January. Because we've got 20 people starting October 16th.
So, and then also there's Parker Nursing Home in conjunction with Robert Wood Johnson Foundation has a program there too, correct?
Yeah.
That's at Sterling Village.
Yeah.
They have a social day program that's come over on Wednesdays once a week, and they engage the seniors that perhaps would never come to the center, and they give them activities right there. And they're only charged like $3 a week, and that includes a nice meal. So that's a great way to get people engaged.
Now, we have people from UMDMJ, well now Rutgers, professional healthcare professionals that come over and work with seniors, correct?
Correct. We have Stephen Majeski, who is at Sterling Village in the Senior Center 1 day a week. And if anybody needs counseling or maybe needs a little bit of guidance about different resources, he's available. And if anybody, for instance, is abused, he can talk with them confidentially. He can guide them in the right direction. And he's a great support to many people. He's been in the position for 25 years.
Okay. So he has a little mileage on him.
Yes, he has a lot of mileage. Yes, yes.
I'm sure he'd appreciate that comment.
And by the way, he is a great person in dealing with people, because I know there's some instances that you have to be great and strong to do that. We've had some situations over there, and he will take them off campus, so to speak, and talk to them there if he has to.
All right,
He's a great leader.
Before we close out the show, we do have one little last minute and a half segment out there, and it was one of the jobs as mayor, and you preside over marriage ceremonies of couples asked to get married, and I periodically do it, mostly on Fridays if available, and I don't know how many I've done in the last 13 years. It's probably been at least 500 or 600, maybe more. But, this one was very special for me because I was asked by one of the employees here in town, of course at the last minute, to ask if I would preside over the marriage ceremony to marry him and his fiancee. And I want to cue it up. And what's special about it is it has to do with Peter Neiman, who also is the program manager and does a lot of times all the filming at all the events and things for not only just Ion Piscataway. So we're going to go to the videotape because
Who was the witness?
the program. There we go.
There it is.
So this is Peter and Andrea getting hitched over at the municipal building right here. So we thought that we'd show that because you never see Peter on the program. A lot of times like Jim doing work, and
right.
they're exchanging their rings and everything like that. And a lot of the employees showed this was obviously after hours there, and long overdue. So he finally caved. He was a bachelor all those years, so he finally found the right lady there and got hitched. So with that, and of course he has his spandex spider ring there.
This is the ring that was.
That's
It's
great.
a temporary ring, of
That's
course,
great.
but that's why nothing's never a dull moment with Peter Neiman. So there it is. There's the spider ring. So with that, they did say I do, and on behalf of myself and the rest of the employees of the town and also the council members, I want to congratulate both Peter and Andrea. And see, you got to do a do-over.
Do-over.
So right there. So.
Got to do it until he does it.
So I want to congratulate both Peter and Andrea on their special day right
Very
there.
nice.
On behalf of the
Congratulations,
PCTV staff and all the viewership out there. So
Very nice.
with that, I want to thank you all. We got about 10 seconds each. Jim, close out, 5 seconds.
I just want to say I believe the senior center environment is doing great, especially when we compare it to the other towns.
Okay, Michelle?
Wearing pink in honor of Breast Cancer
So, yeah.
Awareness Month. Just want to remind everybody.
And there's a lot of walks coming up,
Absolutely.
too. We have the Parkinson's Walk at the end of the month in Thompson's Park in Monroe.
Okay. Yes.
On that Sunday. Amy?
I just want to invite seniors in Piscataway to at least come and visit the center and to get to know us.
Okay, with that, we're going to close out the October show, and we'll see you back on the first Wednesday of November at the 7 o'clock showing, special time there. So with that, don't forget to vote on the 16th of October, the special Senate, and then the regular general election
On November 5th.
November 5th. So with that, we're going to close it out.